I got a question for you.
And what's that?
How long do you think whiskey lasts?
Are we talking like in my glass, in my cabinet?
Talking in general, how long will a whiskey last in a bottle?
Oh, you mean like, do I need to worry that my whiskey's going
Go bad, right?
Yeah, okay.
So we thought we would answer how long whiskey lasts and kind of talk about things that can affect how long that whiskey will last.
I think we should do that
So how long whiskey lasts?
right after this.
Welcome to Whiskey Pop. My name's Jeff.
And I'm Zane.
And today we're going to talk about whiskey.
Because that's what we do. And more importantly, we do that for you. Because
That's
as
right.
experts, we want to help you out.
We're not experts. Why do you keep saying that?
I don't know. It's fun.
You just like doing it now. You're just trying to do it to piss me off now.
That's right.
You just have to edit it out all the time.
It's because you know it's true and, you know, you're trying to false humility. Come on.
False humility?
Just tell them that you're an expert. You know
I'm
you're
not an expert.
What are we talking about today, Jeffrey,
We're talking
besides
about
experts?
whiskey, but first we're going to drink some whiskey, which is McConnell's Irish whiskey from Belfast.
From Belfast?
From Belfast, Northern Ireland.
Interesting.
So this comes from one of the oldest distilleries in Northern Ireland.
That's awesome.
But that's all we're going to say because we're getting ready to drink it.
Yeah, we're going to drink it, and then later on this week, we're going to tell you about what we just drank, and that's when you can discover what experts think about this whiskey.
Ready to do this?
I am so ready to try this. McConnell's.
Well, let's do it. I got my 2 in before you got your 1.
That's not surprising because that's what she said.
So, but we're not going to talk about this whiskey, right?
Right.
We're going to talk about that when?
The second pour on Friday.
Or we'll talk more about McConnell's Irish whiskey from Belfast.
Water.
Water would be nice.
What are we talking about today?
Okay, so we're going to talk about how certain things affect how long your whiskey lasts.
All right, because we do have concerns. You're like us, and we have so many we've bought and tried.
And they're just sitting around.
Are they gonna go bad?
Do they go bad? And
No, we don't drink everything out. You know. Listen, I don't do that. There's a lot of open bottles around here.
Yeah, empty open bottles.
What can I say? You know, glass half full kind of guy.
Okay, so the first thing we're going to talk about does affect whiskey is air.
Air does affect whiskey.
Oxidation does a serious amount of harsh damage to whiskey.
It does. Not in the case of like how bad it destroys beer and wine. Because I mean, you open up
That's
a
right.
wine bottle,
Yeah.
you're on a time clock. It's like 17 hours, and then it's starting to rust.
And like beer is the same way. As soon as you pop it open, all that carbonation is gone very
Yeah,
quickly.
I mean,
so.
if you drink a beer that's an hour old, you're not drinking beer anymore.
No, well, we're not talking about a full bottle though. I mean, a full bottle, like, you know, there's barely any air in this bottle.
No. We're talking about after you've poured it up. Hey, let's dig around there. We got one that's like a half.
So
Yeah.
here's a half empty bottle, right?
Yeah. Now this bottle is a candidate for having oxidization happen.
So based on that, usually within a year
or two.
you need to have drank this bottle or
Yeah.
put it in something else where there's less amount of air in that bottle.
Right. That's also good reason to do infinity bottles.
That's right.
If
Now,
you don't
I
feel
mean,
like you're going to empty it up.
When a whiskey bottle gets down to about like that, you really need to start thinking about either finishing it or putting it in an infinity bottle.
I recommend finishing it.
Finish him.
That that brings us to the next degradation of whiskey.
Light will destroy your whiskey.
Actually will destroy it.
Sun does do a lot of damage to whiskey.
I mean, and that's why we do still see a lot of, darkened bottles.
Yeah, you'll see
here
the
and
green
there.
colored tinted bottles or the darker colored bottles, because most of those whiskey, that's the deal, is it's direct sunlight that'll hurt whiskey. Indirect light, I don't think it really does as much, because there's some whiskeys that'll sit around in liquor stores for months to
A year even.
a year even.
But
That
homework-
whiskey still tastes the same.
The homework to you guys. Are light colored whiskeys tended to be stored in darker colored bottles, or are darker colored whiskeys more apt to be in darker colored bottles?
It's a good question, because you do find that most Irish whiskey bottles, not including this one, are usually stored in darker colored bottles.
They are.
Because they are generally lighter colored whiskeys.
So I wonder, maybe I know, maybe I don't.
Light's not really going to destroy your taste of your whiskey unless it's directly in some kind of light, like sun.
Yes.
But if you're not going to drink a whiskey for a long while, it is still best to put it in like a dark cabinet, so that way that removes that whole problem.
Basically what we're saying is if you decant your whiskey into a pretty crystal decanter.
Now you're dealing with two issues already.
Yeah.
Oxidation and
light and just finish it.
And you probably want to
That
finish
needs to be your daily drinker if you do such a thing, and finish it off within the week.
I think once you
And
put it
that's-
in a decanter, you've got less than 30 days to finish that whiskey off.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And if it's half full, you've got less than a week.
Yeah, it's a week. So the idea of being one of the Ewing family from Dallas coming in and your decanted whiskeys. And,
Yeah, but they're as much as JR drank back in the 80s. That whiskey decanter lasted 2 days and then it was filled up again.
But hey, he wore BVDs because
Oh my gosh, I forgot
where
about
else
that.
would he keep his
I
assets?
forgot about this commercial.
BVD. Now, where else would I put my assets?
So another thing that does affect your whiskey's longevity is evaporation.
And we're not talking about a buddy that comes over and shoots it.
Basically, as your whiskey, as air's opened up to it and light's opened up to it, oxidation happens. It starts to basically wither away.
Yeah, it evaporates.
The angel's
Yeah.
angel share continues well after it comes out of that barrel.
Yeah, so you have to have a really good sealed cork,
For sure.
and you need to ever so often let the cork get moistened.
Yeah, you don't want to do is one of the things we'll talk about is how to store it, but you definitely want to keep that cork moistened so it doesn't let air out. And that includes like your decanters. You'll see a lot of decanters with glass toppers. You're out of luck there.
Yeah, they evaporate quickly.
They evaporate very quickly.
That's
and
another reason why it goes bad,
That's
too.
why it goes so bad so
Yeah.
fast. So you want it. So like if you think about it, if you take a glass or a Glencairn of whiskey and you pour it and you come back tomorrow, that is not going to taste like the whiskey you poured.
No, it's going to be
yesterday.
cloudy, first of all. It's going to have settlement in it.
It will not taste like whiskey anymore.
Yes, things have started happening to it. It's literally starting to
Evaporate and
yeah,
change.
Yeah.
And air's affecting it, the evaporation's affecting it. And on top of that, even within 2 hours, that's a big thing.
Oh, for sure. And it's like anything else. If you weren't interested enough to pour it up and finish it, in that time, you just don't drink it.
Are you gonna finish that hot dog, Jimmy?
Now I'm not.
Back to storage. You definitely want to keep your whiskey stored in a dark cabinet or
Oh,
in,
yeah.
in a cabinet that's not where there's a lot of heat and cool changes in temperature. Heat does affect whiskey. You leave your whiskey in the car, it's shot.
Yeah. Now, obviously, transport of whiskey happens in unair-conditioned vehicles all the time.
We're talking about large amounts of change back and forth on
Yeah.
a period of time. I know people who have left like whiskey in the trunk of their car for like weeks.
Well, you don't want.
You don't want to drink that.
No, you don't want to do that. No.
Even if it hadn't been open, it's not going to taste any better. I mean, especially in the summer of Oklahoma.
Yeah, it gets hot here.
That's 185 degrees in that trunk.
But also to kind of what you were alluding to as far as storing your whiskey, you want to do it. You want to have your whiskey stored upright.
Yeah, you do not want to store your whiskey like this because what will happen is eventually this whiskey will destroy this cork. And
Right.
then your whiskey will start to leak and air will be able to get in. All kinds of nasty things start to happen. Now, you might be able to get away with that with an artificial cork. But even then,
We don't really know.
if it's not a good seal, it will-
And that's the thing, what we were talking about too. As every now and then, you might want to, if you're not drinking something, just give it one of those.
yeah, just keep the cork kind of moist.
Yeah, just to make sure that the cork didn't dry out because it's getting air transfer regardless.
Yeah, and even though you think it's sealed, there's still air getting in there.
Yeah.
There's that much air now in that bottle when we open it up. And it'll, as we finish it today, it'll
Shut up!
All these things play into how long your whiskey will last. Truth be told, nobody can definitively tell you how long your whiskey is going to last.
Yeah.
I mean, they pulled out whiskey. Remember that episode we did
Yeah.
where they found whiskey in the house?
Right, which had to have been
100.
hot. It had to have been stored in all kinds of directions.
And it was there for 100 years, and they still tasted it, and it tasted good.
Yeah.
Now, was it what it was supposed to taste like is the question.
Yeah. There's no telling.
There's no telling, but it was still worthy to drink.
So it is like a conundrum. All we're saying is there's some rules to go by, some guidelines.
The guidelines to go by.
And if you stick with those, you should be fine.
The key here is we have a ton of bottles that have been opened.
Yeah.
And that just sit in the cabinet, and we have tons of bottles that haven't been opened that just sit in the cabinet, and then we have tons of bottles that we finish that we never have to worry about.
And if you follow those guidelines, well,
You'll be happy. Your whiskey will be happy.
less waste is all I'm trying to say. So there we go.
That's right. So what about you? How have you found that certain things you do with your whiskey tends to affect the flavor of it in long term? Or have you noticed like a whiskey that's gone bad because it sat around for a while? We'd like to know what you think that was.
Also, let us know, are you going to join us on Second Pour on Friday?
Yeah, because we're going to review McConnell's Irish whiskey. Right? Right?
Oh, we're going to do
Right?
it. Yeah,
Right.
we're going to review.
So in the meantime, you guys continue to be geeky, and we'll see you on Friday for Second Pour.
Cheers.
Cheers.